year as they were victims of a cruel and unusual dragging because of their lack of diversity and involvement, not just on their runways, but I'm sure behind the scenes. Because as you and I both know, many of these fashion companies are still very Wonder White bread behind the scenes, and still suffering the slings and arrows because of it. I don't know when these retailers and when these fashion companies are going to realize that it's not about you getting into every game in the fashion world. All of this stuff in fashion, all of this stuff in retail is all meant to be experiential, and it is about making everyone, regardless of who they are, feel good about their experience with your brand, which is what most retailers and fashion houses have been missing out on. But enjoying the spoils of all of the money and the trappings that come from different people, not just white people, supporting their brands. But I digress. Listen. So did we talk about Kanye West's new album yet? So Kanye West was to deliver an album. His wife, Kim Kardashian West, who, I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting me a Skims waist trainer. Oh, bitch. Did you see that shit? I'm on the waiting list. I don't give a fuck what any of you hoes have to say, okay? I'm going to be keeping up with Lay Kardashian when I get my Skims waist trainer divine, okay? And you bitches will stay mad. I don't care. But, yes, Kim revealed on Friday that Kanye was to be dropping at midnight on Saturday a new album, which would be his gospel-influenced album. As many of you know, Kanye has been traveling all over the country with basically a group of background singers, all hired to be pretty much a choir for what is promising to be a gospel-infused album. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but The Life of Pablo had a very gospel, a heavy gospel influence over it. So this new album promises to be more gospel for you guys. Well, for all of us. I mean, I'm really excited about it. I think that initially when we all saw Kanye doing these Sunday services and charging people $60 for his Gildan sweatshirts that he probably only paid $3 for a piece, we all kind of raised our left eyebrow like, oh, nigga, please. You know, you could get your whites and Calabasas with that shit, but you won't be getting us. But, you know, I've come to find as I look down on people's shoes that you guys have been gotten. You guys have been gotten. You're all over around here wearing your finest of Yeezy shoes. So I'm sure that you're totally going to support this new album. So it turns out that Kanye did not drop the album, but he is scheduled to have, or was scheduled to have, 2 listening sessions for the album. One in Chicago, and today in New York, he will have another listening session. Now, I'm hoping that this culminates into him actually dropping the album, and I hope that you guys are excited about it. I am. So we'll see what happens. In more news, Malika Hawk of the Chloe and Malika phase and friendship, I guess that's not a phase, it's more of a friendship, but she has announced that she is pregnant. That's exciting for her. So as far as we know, she was recently dating OT Genesis. So I don't know if that is her baby's father. Like I said, I don't know this woman's fallopian tubes like that. Okay. Nor do I want to know. But since she made it her business to tell us that she's pregnant, we're just going to talk about it. So yay, she's pregnant. Good for her. Have you guys been keeping up with the Kardashians this new season? I have not. I've not been doing well. Although, one thing I can say in the Kardashians, they're just like us, is that our friend, Kourtney just turned 40. And on a recent episode of the show, she revealed that her kids do have some behavioral issues. Now, in most circles, as far as I'm concerned, most of the people I know don't have kids with behavioral issues. They have some badass motherfuckers. And if they have bad kids, they have kids that they beat. Now, I don't really know too many people who, for the most part, employ the idea of sparing the rod. Most of the people that I know believe in, spankings. So, in revealing that her kids have some behavioral issues, Courtney also revealed that her daughter, Penelope, actually scratched the nanny and scratched her on her face, scratched her good. And she revealed this at a dinner with her mom and her mom's boyfriend, Corey, as well as with her baby daddy, Scott, and Kim and her good Judy, the food god. So, when she revealed this, Corey, Kris Jenner's boyfriend, revealed that he would whoop little Penelope's ass if she were to scratch him in the face. Well, this prompted a back and forth between Corey and Scott, to which Scott got very upset because he thought that Corey was implying that if Penelope were to do anything physically to himself, Corey, that Corey would beat Penelope. Now, here's my understanding of it, because most of you guys probably don't. If you do watch the Kardashians, you probably thought the same thing that I did when I watched it, which was, I'm just sure that he means that if he was the nanny and she did that to him, he would spank her. I did not think that Corey meant that he would be the one physically spanking Penelope. Let's be realistic. At what juncture in the road would Corey ever be babysitting Penelope? First of all, Scott and Courtney barely babysit Penelope, okay? If she's got a nanny for a mom who just has an online blog and does a reality show, I mean, let's be real. She has a nanny for a lot of things. So the chances is that Corey and Penelope would never be in a room or in a situation where he would have to beat Penelope's ass. But honey, this is what happens, and I'm a firm believer in this. I believe that this is what happens in interracial relationships where culturally, even syntax can cause issues with semantics, right? So my thought process is that Corey simply meant that Penelope needs an ass whooping for misbehaving. And in Scott's mind, you have to understand that Scott is a young white man from New York City, Jewish boy who grew up with a lot of money, very little to no discipline, if any at all, which led to his downward spiral in cocaine and alcohol, amongst, I'm sure, other things. That lack of discipline created an area of lack of responsibility and accountability. Now, I'm not a big proponent for beating your kids. You know what I mean? I don't believe that kids need to be beat. But I do definitely believe that after a while, a spanking would be cute. A little spankity spank. No, I don't believe that you need to be abusing your children. And I definitely don't believe that, like, beating your child is the first go-to for behavior. I mean, listen, if you have siblings, you even can testify to the fact that in a lot of situations, even within one household, kids need to be raised differently. In a lot of situations, my brother, my sister, and I had 3 different personalities. So whereas my mother maybe had to employ some more corporal punishment for the other 2, perhaps she didn't have to do the same for me. Perhaps even just having a situation of just employing a situation of being able to talk to your kid was enough for me, to be honest with you. Like, I was mortified by the thought of even disappointing my parents. I didn't want to get into that. So listen, I totally understand that Scott was upset, but I think this is part of the dynamic of interracial dating, is that sometimes the things that we do culturally, the things that we employ culturally, even the syntax that we use culturally it doesn't translate the same. And so therefore you have these blow-ups where I have to explain to you culturally, that's not what I mean. So that was an interesting situation that happened there. What I think that is even more interesting is that even now, with as many Black men and women who are friends with the Kardashians, are married to the Kardashians, are dating or fucking or around the Kardashians, that these conversations aren't happening more frequently. Conversations that explore racial diversity, cultural diversity, and what it means even within that family. I think that what to me was missed when I saw that episode was an opportunity for the Kardashians to say, you know what? Because here's the thing that really even bothered me more so, is that Kourtney and Scott actually kind of shut down when they didn't want to discuss what Corey was saying. And I don't believe that they shut down because they felt like what Corey was saying was wrong. I think that it is murky water when you start to perhaps judge someone's parenting. They shut that down immediately. People don't want their parenting judged. And so I felt like it wasn't so much like, yes, Scott was upset because, oh, well, am I supposed to understand that you're going to actually hit my daughter if she does something bad? Or is it that like I'm overreacting and maybe it's just like a cultural thing? Like, let me just take a moment and breathe. It was so interesting to see in that moment how race plays a part in everything. You know what I mean? Even the family dynamics there. And as much as, Chris did what white women do best, immediately started crying. I was so shocked. Not Chris, the bad bitch. You just gonna sit there and cry. Oh, girl, please. Listen. We are going to pause for the cause and come right back for your pull-up. Stay tuned. Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast? I remember when I gave birth to a seat at the table. I had all kinds of questions. Where was I going to record my episodes? How was I going to make money off this? And also, how was I going to get my podcast on a bunch of different apps so I can make it more available to people? Well, the answer turned out to be real simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free. That's right, you heard me. It's 100% free. And it's so easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. So all that means is time to make this shmoney, honey. That's right. Get paid for your podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now, reading this ad to you. Okay? Listen, if you're like me, you work one place, you live another place. You may not even know people who have access to a studio, or even if you do, you don't have money for studio time. So if you've always wanted to record your own podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start and join me and a diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. And we are back. So, I wanted to share with you guys, just a recent situation that I have been in. So, listen, I love my family. I love my